yes, you're not a bad photographer. And in this video, I'll discuss 12, if you want, tips, ideas, suggestions that if you apply them, this will help you increase the quality of your landscape photography in the winter season, which is almost here. So I will help you with these ideas by looking at some of my photos, talking about them and the reasons behind taking each of these photos. So let's start with the first idea that I'm having for you, and that is to concentrate on reflections. Whenever you see reflections in any season, they will look great, but in the winter season they will look better. The main reason for which you are going for a reflection in the winter season is because there is a better visibility of the object that is being reflected. In this case, for example, the mountain, and we also have a little bit of sunrise light on the mountain, and you see the reflection really well. So it's a lot. It has a lot more power visually, if you want. In the winter season, there will be lots of contrast. Remember that this word is really important: contrast. Whenever you are photographing something, you want that something to be the subject, and in order to be the subject, it needs to separate from other elements. In other words, to create a contrast between itself, the subject, and the rest of the photo. And in winter season, it's very simple to achieve that because the rest of the scenery is white. There are also situations when the subject is white. We'll get to that a little bit later on another tip. But whenever you see an element that has a really strong shape, like in this case, you see the road, and you have a really powerful contrast between the road and the rest of the landscape, you have to take this photo because the subject will separate. Let's take a look at other examples of using this concept of contrast. I'm in the forest, there is snow everywhere, there is fog, and I have this tree that still has some leaves on it. And of course, the contrast is really high. Again, the same situation, only that now I move a little bit further, I'm shooting a little bit wider, and you get another perspective of the entire forest and how lonely this tree is with its beautiful leaves. When you have people walking in the mountains in winter, you see them better because you have the white of the snow and then you have the dark silhouettes of the people. But let's move to number 3, and this is an obvious tip: negative space. In winter situations, there is very easy way to achieve this tip or this idea, because you have all that white snow that you can use as a negative space. This is just one idea, one simple idea. When you have the entire landscape and then you only have a couple of elements, in my case some pine trees, but the idea is to fill the image with nothing and then just place one small element in an area of the photo. It doesn't matter if you don't have clouds in the sky for the sunrise. Just be there before sunrise, because the light is going to be amazing, and you will have, if you turn your back to the sun, you will get those purple hints of color on the horizon just before sunrise. And then you have tip number 5, the light during sunrise, when the snow, because it's white and reflective, it will reflect and it will create that really beautiful and interesting atmosphere. Tip number 6, in winter, especially in the mountains, the weather is really bad, and you have the chance of capturing some really beautiful and power images. Those are my rewards. Those are the reasons for which I'm going there. So you need a little bit of pain if you want a little bit of gain, if you know what I mean. So all these are bad weather situations. Idea number 7, if you look from another perspective, like for example from a drone, but this tip doesn't necessarily apply only to drone footage. You can think of graphical elements being represented by small elements in the landscape. Number 8, my favorite, foggy forests in winter situations. You don't have to be afraid to go in the forest in a foggy situation in winter. I know that some people told me that it looks really spooky, and they like the photos, but they will not go in a forest like this by themselves. Not ever. I'm looking for areas of contrast. I'm looking for dark and some light, for powerful silhouettes in the tree. Number 9, characters. Including characters in your winter photos. They look really, really well. Over here you see an entire pack of dogs. Lucky for me, I knew these dogs. I knew that they are from a chalet close by. Otherwise, if you see a Saint Bernard running towards you like this, you're not stopping to take photos. You can also use people. For example, this is myself in the landscape, and I'm wearing a red jacket. This creates some contrast between me and the rest of the landscape. Tip number or idea number 10, pine trees. Pine trees, the forest is filled with pine trees, and when you have pine trees covered in snow, they look really, really beautiful. This image over here, when I look at this image, I really see a Christmas tree. The idea number 11, long exposures in winter conditions. They look really well. It's a lot easier to do long exposures in winter because the weather is more dramatic. There are clouds in the sky, there is wind, they're kind of moving, they're doing something. You can see over here that I position myself in such a way that the movement of the clouds is toward that peak in the distance, and this will act like a leading line. Now I have one last tip, number 12, and let me show you the photo now. And you're going to say, yeah, right, if I would be there, I would take this beautiful photo myself. So if you want to be a better photographer, go to spectacular places. This is the moral of this photo. So I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you want to learn more about landscape photography, I have an ebook on this, and you can find a link for that ebook in the description of this video. And until next time, keep on photographing because it's the only way that you can get better. Bye bye.